Hey everyone, Andrea Rene here for Yahoo Esports. I'm with Rod Fergusson, the studio head of the Coalition, and we are here taking a look at the Gears of War 4 multiplayer beta that's coming up. Rod, thank you so much for talking with me today.
Oh, I'm happy to have you here.
So you guys have been going on an around the world tour showing everyone a preview of the beta, and you gave a really great presentation, kind of, capstoning what we're going to see that's different in Gears of War 4 as a whole. So what would you say for people who are really excited about jumping into the beta? What's the first thing they're going to notice that's different?
Probably the modes will be the first thing. You know, we have the new mode Dodgeball, which is a great way to get into Gears. It's like Warzone, but now you can bring your teammates back by every time you kill an opponent, which is a great sort of, I'm out, but now I'm really excited to get back in. We have new weapons. You know, the drop shot is super fun, be able to shoot over cover and drop down, grenades on people, and then the maps and so on. And I think the big thing for us is this new cover-based combat where you can do the yank and the vault. Those are new sort of deeper mechanics, so it takes a little while to get used to them, but once you're comfortable with them, it increases your speed, increases your lethality, and it kind of changes multiplayer.
You spoke about how your team really took more from Gears of War 3 than from Judgment, and going forward with your design process for Gears of War 4. Could you expand a little bit on what specifically you took from Gears 3 and are incorporating into Gears 4?
Well, it's really about Gears 3 being the baseline. You know, Judgment was an experiment to see like how far we could push certain things, especially towards the first-person shooter audience of first-person shooter controls and movement and all those sorts of things. And really, what we decided looking at for Gears of War 4, we really wanted to embrace what made Gears Gears. And the way you start with that is Gears of War 3. And then we said, let's pull some learnings from Judgment in terms of smoothness of movement and those sorts of things. But it was really starting there, and then now we're growing on top of that. And like once we got to parity, then it's like, okay, now we can talk about things like the close cover combat moves, new weapons, new maps, new modes, that kind of stuff. So, but it really is the fundamental baseline is starting with 3.
Was there a part of the development process that you found particularly challenging in trying to innovate something new? Was there like something you guys really wanted to do, but you were having trouble figuring out how to get it done?
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, it was just one of the frustrating parts was just getting to parity, because we had a new team and a new engine, and we had write a bunch of new code because Unreal Script went away. We had to start from scratch on a lot of things, and it took a long time. We took months and months and months. I mean, we were all the way through, pre-production, and we still weren't at parity, and it was one of those things where it's like, come on, like if we can't get to the baseline, how are we going to build new stuff? And so it felt like the clock was ticking a bit. But once we got there, it was great. And then it was talking about like, okay, how do we change it without breaking it? I think the big thing that people are going to find is the new active reload. It was one of those things where like, how do you mess with something that's sort of fundamentally part of Gears? And it was really just for multiplayer, but they realized that people weren't using it. Like when Judgment, they sort of turned off the damage boost. And so we're like, how do we make it better for competitive play? And that was something that took iteration after iteration after iteration. And I would get people coming in my office at night going like, I don't believe what they're doing down there. I think they broke multiplayer. You're like, what? And then I go down the next day to play and going like, this isn't working at all. And just through iteration, we were able to get to a place where it is now that I think is awesome.
Why do you think active reload is so good?
I think there's a lot of reasons. The fact that you're taking something that's traditionally passive and making it active, and the fact that you're able to do something to improve, like get that reload faster and get a damage boost and those sorts of things, that it kind of changes the game and adds a little more of the skill gap to it. So I think that's part of it, and I think the new system where we have this sort of cooldown and that you don't have to shoot. Look, big thing is don't ever let the avatar look dumb. Whether that's running against a wall or doing weird rolls. Like people used to shoot into the walls to empty their clip just so they could do an active reload. So every match started with people doing like, yeah, shooting in the air, the big celebration, the Cinco de Mayo game, And so the notion of being able to just do an active reload, whether your clip is full or not, allows for that. The game doesn't look dumb anymore.
You spoke about how you're changing the skill ranking system to make it more approachable to new players.
Right.
As somebody who's struggled in PvP and is much more of a horde player, I'm really excited about this. Could you explain how the new skill system will work?
Yeah, we wanted to put in a visible skill ranking, so we're separating skill and level. Like level is really time served, right? You level up over time, and so if you're level 60, you've played a lot, but it doesn't mean you're actually any good. And so we wanted to bring that sort of visible skill ranks and have the sort of buckets or tiers where you can have a bronze, silver, gold. We have onyx and diamond and master, which, as I talked about, the game doesn't change whether you play it, like basketball, whether you play it in elementary school or you play it in NBA. It's a ball, a court, and 2 nets. So the game doesn't change. It's who you play against. And what we find is that people come in as a new player, that you might be a bronze level player. When you get put in against people who are diamond level, you get owned and you don't have fun. And so for us, it's about whether you are a new player or you're a highly competitive player, finding competition that is meaningful to you, that makes the game interesting and fair for you, I think is going to be something that changes how people approach multiplayer.
Finally, what can we look forward to in the tournament scene? We know you guys have something going on at PAX. Are we going to see anything else coming in 2016 for Gears and Esports?
Yeah, I mean, esports is a big push for us, but again, we're trying to serve all of our audiences from the new player all the way up to esports, and I think that's been something that's been exciting for us. Is like, this is the first project I've ever been a part of where we're talking about, like, what about the viewers? Like, you know, like that was the thing I put to Ryan. Make Gears more watchable. Like, how do you do that? And that's something we've had to put a lot of work into. And so, you know, what we're really excited about at PAX is being able to demonstrate Escalation, which is our competitive mode that is really kind of tailored towards esports. And then as we look at, what I love about esports and just multiplayer in general is that long tail of your game. So not everything has to be in the box. So all of the innovations we put in for esports that are coming in the box means we can also then build past that. So one of the things to look for with Gears of War 4 is that we sort of consider this our walking phase. Like, Ultimate Edition was our crawl phase, and Gears 4 is our walking phase for esports, and to get to run, you're going to see us supporting esports even beyond the initial release.
Well, Rod, thank you so much for chatting with me today. We will keep you guys up to date on all things Gears of War right here on Yahoo Esports.